Hello and welcome to The Beat, a news and talk program brought to you by the Center for Community Media at Worcester State University. I'm your host, Lew Kotros, and I'm talking with Mr. Tim Murray here today. He's the president and CEO of the Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce.
Lou, good to be with you.
Good to be with you.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your position as president and CEO of the Worcester Regional Chamber?
Yeah, well, I've been in that role for about 6.5 years. Oversee a staff of about 12 people, give or take, at the chamber, depending on the time of year. We are a membership-based organization. We represent about 2,300 member businesses and organizations that join the chamber for a variety of different reasons, but it includes business advocacy. We advocate on behalf of the business community and on a lot of different levels of government and to the community at large. We do programs and events that help educate our members about how they can be better business owners, more profitable, things that are impacting their business. It might be changes in law at the state or federal level. Media, how can, if someone's focused on delivering a service or making a product, they might not be good at marketing, so we'll bring in member marketing companies, just for example. A whole host of programs that assist our members in a variety of different ways. And we represent Central Mass and Southern Worcester County. We have 5 affiliate partner chambers: the Auburn, Webster Dudley Oxford Chamber, Chamber of Central Mass South, Blackstone Valley Chamber, and the Wachusett Area Chamber of Commerce as partner affiliates.
You want to tell me a little bit about your past, your education?
Well, I grew up here in Worcester, attended the Worcester Public Schools, St. John's High School in Shrewsbury, then Fordham University for 4 years in the Bronx, New York, and then came back to Worcester and attended law school nights at Western New England University School of Law. Okay,
and you were the Lieutenant Governor of Massachusetts and a mayor of our great city of Worcester, and you're currently the President and CEO of the Worcester Chamber of Commerce.
That's right. 17 years in elective office as a city councilor, 5 years as mayor of Worcester, and then 6.5 years as lieutenant governor before I took the job at the chamber.
I thank you for your service. Right now, the important political issue is health care.
Yeah, well, health care is obviously, in the news at lots of different levels. It's a presidential year, so there's a lot of people talking about that, and at the state level, there continue to be kind of tweaks and refinements. I know from my time as lieutenant governor, we were the first state in the country really to implement universal health care. It was passed under Governor Romney, but as soon as Governor Patrick and I came into office, it was our responsibility to implement it. And working with the legislature, the private sector, and others, we were able to implement that. And Massachusetts is, basically universal coverage, providing health care for everyone, but there are challenges inherent in that. Costs, of delivery of care, you have pharmaceutical, costs, and then what can people afford? So, it's an ongoing challenge, though I do think Massachusetts, there were some subsequent changes that we made, that have worked to really focus on cost containment and try to stay within a certain percentage every year. But it continues to be a challenge, and it's front and center in the presidential race.
The other issue was climate change, and it's kind of a big issue with this election coming up.
Yeah, that's being talked a lot about, certainly in the Democratic primary. And again, it's something that we all have responsibility to try to deal with, whether in the public or private sector. When Governor Patrick and I came into office, we worked on several pieces of legislation that really kind of allowed Massachusetts to be seen as a pioneer, creating a whole bunch of jobs in weatherization. How do we take these old houses and weatherize them, insulate them, putting in energy efficiency measures, solar. We've created lots of jobs in solar. So, while there are challenges, there are opportunities, and it's going to take a little time to transition away from fossil fuels, but I think there's some things that we have done in Massachusetts and continue to do, which can get us there sooner rather than later.
Great. All right. You were part of, obviously, the Deval Patrick administration. How do you differentiate the Charlie Baker administration from yours?
Well, every administration has its own kind of priorities and philosophy. I think there are some things that I'm pleased that they continue to try to focus on. Lieutenant Governor Polito working on a lot of the issues with municipal officials. A program that we started that they've expanded called the MassWorks Infrastructure Program, which is about investing in kind of infrastructure projects that help unlock or create economic development opportunities for cities or towns or regions of the state. The life sciences and biotech, that was a priority of ours out of the administration. They passed a 2.0 version of that. So I think there's some things that I'm pleased that they continue to work on. But every administration has their priorities, and
Sure.
When you bring Lieutenant Governor Polito on or the governor, they can talk to you about that.
All right. There's a lot of construction going on in Worcester right now.
Right.
And you get the ballpark, and you get some retail space and some hotels, and Kelly Square.
Mm-hmm.
How's that going to affect the economy in Worcester?
Well, I like to think it's going to help it. When you've got construction projects going, people are, men and women in the trades are working.
Mm-hmm.
You've got people buying goods and supplies. People need to buy the trucks. They need to buy the materials for the construction site. People got a few bucks in their pocket. At the end of the day, they're going to stop by the pizza shop, the dry cleaner, the package store. Maybe they, get a little extra in overtime or something. Time to go buy an appliance or something.
Mm-hmm.
So these are all things that I think that are positive. And at the end of the day, this isn't just about building a $100 million new Polar Park for the Red Sox AAA team. This is also a $150 million plus private sector development project.
Mm-hmm.
400 units of market rate housing, 2 hotels totaling 250 rooms, 550 car parking garage. I believe it's about 60,000 square feet of new retail, and then 2 office buildings that are going to be about 80 or 90,000 square feet. So that's aside from the ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
And so that will bring people in, cause more people to live here, grow here, and then the Red Sox, you're going to have hundreds of thousands of people a year coming to Worcester to go to the Red Sox games. They play 70 home games. There'll be concerts and events and shows, and it'll be a place for people from across New England to come into Worcester. And Lou, what we found from Worcester's Restaurant Row on Shrewsbury Street and the growing restaurant scene, whether it be on Highland Street or the Canal District, whether it be from the growing arts and cultural scene, the Hanover Theater, the Worcester Art Museum, just to name a few, the powwow, mural contest. When people come into Worcester and they haven't been here for a while, they have a good experience in most cases, and they spend money, and then they come back and they go to a family event, or they go to work and they say, I had a great time in Worcester. I went to Piccolo's, for dinner, then I went down to the Hanover Theater, and wow, parking was easy and cheap. Meal was great, reasonably priced, and I didn't have to deal with the hassle of Boston or the commute or the traffic or the congestion, to that extent. So anything we can do to bring more people in, and I think they see the Central Mass has got a lot to offer.
I think Worcester does have a lot. Are there any new developments going on in Worcester right now?
Yeah, well, I feel, and part of our team at the Chamber, we use 3 words to organize our work at the Chamber. It's recruit, retain, incubate. How do we recruit new businesses and investment and development in the city? How do we try to create a policy in city and town and federal government, that helps keep and allows businesses to grow and expand here in the city and in the region? And then incubate. How do we incubate new businesses? How do we get the students here at Worcester State to think about starting their own business? How do we work with the immigrant community? How do we work with all the college students? How do we work with somebody who's been thinking of a career change or been laid off, and they say, I'm going to start my own business? We do a lot of programs in that space, but we're constantly recruiting businesses, and we feel like a little bit like we're a matchmaker right now for the region and trying to. People have interest in maybe developing, could be a housing developer, could be a business that's looking to open up a satellite office, and we're trying to show them sites, opportunities, educate them on the community. So there's a lot happening. I mentioned the whole ballpark piece, but clearly, the City Square project downtown, there's still a few parcels. We announced another restaurant coming into the City Square project at Mercantile Center. There's the site over at Mount Carmel, unfortunately, that the church closed, but there's a development opportunity there that's I think we'll hear a little bit about Greendale Mall. So I think those are all things that are in the news, that will be have been in the news, and will get further attention in the coming year.
Good. Now that Deval Patrick has thrown his hat into the Democratic race,
He did?
do you think he got in too late?
Well, as he's been saying, he may be later, but he's not too late. He's going to get on the ballot, I believe, in most of the states.
Yeah.
And polling, even prior to his announcement about a little over a month ago, has shown that on the Democratic side, it's still a lot of undecided voters in New Hampshire and South Carolina. And if there's anyone capable of capturing lightning in a bottle, it's Governor Patrick. I think he's, really has an incredible talent or skill in synthesizing kind of the noise that's out there, or the conversation that's out there, and putting that together in a message that resonates with people, or in a vision that collectively people want to support or be a part of. So I would say, he's got a puncher's chance, and he's as good a campaigner as there is.
Good. If you're his running mate, I'll definitely vote.
Well, I think he's going to look for some geographic balance.
Yeah, I'm sure. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about the Chamber of Commerce, or maybe a message to the Worcester State University students?
Yeah, well, so many of the Worcester State University students are, from Massachusetts, from New England, and Worcester's, one of the fastest growing, cities, and Central Mass, one of the fastest growing regions around. There's a lot here to offer. Our chamber, we've got approximately 2,300 members. Most of them are small businesses, but dynamic, nimble, and really, I think, a diverse sector. We've got healthcare is the biggest employer in the region. Higher ed is the second largest. We've got financial service companies, and then manufacturing is still a strong presence in the region. But a growing innovation sectors, life sciences, biotech, robotics, and video gaming, communications, and our colleges are one of the reasons why this region has grown, with 35,000 college students. Companies and businesses want to be around that, so we've seen a number of companies from the greater Boston area open up satellite offices in the city and the region, because they want to be around the talent, and also maybe some of their older employees who've been there for a while that are sick of commuting into Boston. So there's a lot happening. So I just would urge, the students, as they're here, if they're interested in internships, get involved, call us at the chamber. We partner with many of the professors and programs here at Worcester State. It's a great way to learn, build, your resume, but also learn whether a career is something, in a certain field if you're interested in. We can help you in that regard. If people are thinking about starting a business, we can work with you there. So just, a lot of resources here. Take advantage of them, and I think it'll benefit you.
Well, you're always welcome here at Worcester State University. You've been here before.
I have. I grew up, and I live 2 houses from my parents, over near Richmond Ave and Pleasant Street. And I've grown up here. My wife and I are raising our kids here. And my dad's a graduate of Worcester State, so it's been a school that's been, a big part of our family.
I'm told that you were the very first guest on the beat.
I think I was as lieutenant governor. I can't remember. I was lieutenant governor, or maybe when I first started the chamber. But it's good to be here, and there's a growing kind of communications program here at Worcester State, and that's important, because virtually any business you're in or organization you're working with, communications, with the fact that we all have a production device in our hand with a cell phone, means we all have the ability to communicate a message one way or the other.
Great. I thank you.
Lou.
Thank you for watching this segment of The Beat. Please remember to follow us on Facebook and on Twitter, and we'll see you next week. We've been here with Tim Murray.